You're listening to a Corridor Business Journal podcast. This episode of Real Success with Nate Kaeding is brought to you by Midwest One Bank. Midwest One Bank is the proud partner for doers and entrepreneurs in the corridor and beyond. As an SBA preferred lender, our team is ready to help you reach your business goals. It's empowered money management. It's Midwest One Bank, member FDIC.
Taylor, we are in the middle of an Iowa winter. Perhaps close your eyes and you can dream of lavender fields and sunshine and grass growing and the birds chirping and all those sort of things. But you are obviously the founder owner of Calyx Creek Lavender and now Lodging, which we'll get into. There's some exciting things happening out at the farm, but it really has become just a few years since you guys have been in business and went about this journey of creating this agritourism. Really what's become an awesome gem. Like there's such a buzz around it, around town, and people coming in from out of town to visit it. And
yes,
when you think of Iowa, you think of row crops and maybe some hogs and chickens and those sort of things. So you kind of have this really unique oasis that you've built out just outside of North Liberty there. And I know by trade you're originally a pilot, and this has been kind of a new venture for you and your family, but that's probably a good place to start. How in the heck did you come up with the idea of creating a kind of vertically integrated lavender farm?
Yep. No, good question. So I'm one of the founders, owners, along with my wife, and because got to include the credit where credit is due and how this all came about. But we lived out in Seattle for a couple years and inadvertently stumbled across a lavender farm on San Juan Islands, which are out in Seattle. Definitely go check out. It's a fun, very unique trip to ferry out there. And we just stumbled across one, and it was, I was like, even as a guy, like I don't frequent flower farms that often, but I was like, this is actually pretty cool. Like this is not something you see every day. And, just kind of filed it away in the back of your head of memories. Mm-hmm. And then when we moved back to Iowa, started a church, and we lived down in Riverside trying to find a farm. My wife grew up on a farm, and that was really important to her. And I was like, I would like to, my grandparents, remember going and visiting them and going out and seeing the farm and getting eggs and doing just, getting messy and
doing farm things.
Farm things. I don't know how else to describe it. Thank you for stepping in there. Yeah. And I was like, that could be fun. And so it is really challenging to find a farm around here. Mm-hmm. And so we looked for quite a long time. And we also knew at that time that we wanted to engage people in it. Like I think we're kind of, so urbanized now that you don't get out and to see the farm, to see where your food's coming from. And people are pretty excited about that. And they want to know the story behind where things are coming from. And so giving them the opportunity, kind of building that bridge between rural Iowa, urban Iowa, and getting people involved in what agriculture looks like, et cetera. And so we found a farm and bought it in 2022. Actually, I got to back up. Before we had even bought the farm, we were like, hey, I think this might actually work. We've tried this like 7 times prior to, and it hasn't panned out for whatever reason. A lot of things are like farms are normally sold by families, so all the family has to agree on it, and it gets chaotic. But hey, this is going to work out. So what are we going to do? Now's the moment of truth. What we're going to have some row crop. We're going to have corn, beans. But what's going to be our expression of farming? Because it is honestly borderline impossible to get into row crop farming. It's too expensive. The
equipment,
the equipment. You're millions of dollars in before you have a chance to make anything. And so what are we going to be able to do? And so you got to think outside the box. And one night, the kids were in bed. We hadn't even moved to the farm. We hadn't closed on the farm. We were a few months out. And I was like, could we do lavender? I don't know why it popped in my head. My wife said she was putting on like lavender lotion on her hands or something. I don't know. So maybe we'll give her credit for the idea.
It comes you in the shower. Out on a walk.
Absolutely. And so I was like, well, can we do lavender in Iowa? I don't even know. And so we were doing some quick Google searching, and it's like, maybe we could. And so then it's a matter of soil type. You got to have the right soil type. Otherwise, you're going to have to change your soil, which is a lot of work. And so I think a couple days later, I went out to the farm and I asked permission. Hey, can we just walk the farm? You know, we're dreaming here. And I'm walking the farm and I'm looking down at the soil, and I'm not that much of a farmer, but I'm like, this looks like sand. I mean, there is sand everywhere on this farm.
Which is interesting. You're out by the Hawkeye Wildlife Management, like west of North Liberty, and that's that whole, it is very sandy out there.
It's terribly sandy. Yeah. In fact, there's a whole DNR report about how they used to be sand dunes millions of years ago. I don't know why you'd ever look this DNR report up, but I did. Yeah. And turns out that's perfect for growing lavender. And so I'm like, this could really come together. And it did. We started planting in May. We closed on the farm in June. They let us start planting plants before we'd even closed, which was awesome. And we planted 4,000 lavender plants. It started off, our initial vision was 800 plants. Our initial thought was maybe doing some fun lodging so that people could come out and enjoy it, not just for an afternoon, but for a couple nights. And so we were going to do glamping tents, maybe do a little farm stand thing. And then by the time we actually got into it, we ended up being at 4,000 plants, because I was like, wouldn't it be cool if there were rolling hills of lavender?
Little scope creep.
The scope creep, absolutely. And then the glamping tents turned into treehouses, because, I mean, glamping tent, cool, but treehouse, better. And of course, they're treehouses that have fiber internet and air conditioning and heated floors. They're not your children's playhouse. And then our shop, we started learning how do you build a shop, and it realized that, you know, there's economies of scale. So if you start too small, you're not going to have enough room in the long term. And so that became not just a small farm stand, it became a just shy of 5,000 square foot building. And then we were like, we need to diversify. We could diversify more in that, hey, we have a large space that we don't need all the time. We need it for equipment. We need it for processing lavender. We need it for our shop, but we could do some special events out there like weddings and stuff. And so that scope creep just kept going, but I think it went in a really good way. But it is not without challenges. So now we have 8,000 lavender plants. We have lavender labyrinth. We have 8 different varieties. We have soon to be 4 tree houses and a suite inside the main building. Shop, classes, events. It's
it's a full on thing now.
It's a thing.
This is no side venture.
It's a thing.
This is it.
Yeah.
What has been the biggest now? Being close to 3 years into the.
Yeah, so this will be our 3rd season, our 3rd summer open to the public. Yep.
What's been the biggest surprise from a business startup perspective as a founder of a business, an entrepreneur? Is it in terms of more work, less work? I think I can answer that probably for you. It seems like they're probably never ending, especially on a farm, right? But what being 3 years in, if you would have told yourself 3 years ago, hey, watch out for this, or an unexpected thing that's popped up along the way.
Yeah, if I would have been like, hey,
or a story,
really think about this before you do this.
Yeah.
I'd say that. I mean, I would definitely say we say small business, we want to promote small business, we want to help small business. And we were for that too. But when you do it, you just realize it is so incredibly hard. I mean, and there's just so many ways for it to go wrong, and so many battles that you would never have expected to have that wear you down. So I think first, kudos to anybody who's willing to start that, not trying to deter you, but just being very realistic of the challenges and why it is that a lot of small businesses don't make it, and because it's hard. So kudos to all those people who are up at, 10, 11 o'clock at night, trying to get back to emails, trying to, I mean, just even on the drive here, and I got here and I looked at my email, I'm like, oh no, I'm behind on all of that, and it's great because people are excited about the farm and all that. And I want to be excited for them, but it's like, okay, well then you got to hire staff. Well, that creates a whole new line of complications, and how many staff and what positions. And it's, especially in our world, it's not like there is a a bunch of lavender farms around that we can just call up and say, hey, what did you do?
Right. You're kind of writing the playbook as you go.
You're writing the playbook. It's not like there's a bunch of treehouse resorts around. There's like, I don't know, I think less than a half dozen in the United States that you can just call up, and they're busy like we are.
Yeah.
But they don't have the lavender piece of it. And so, just being, hey, block and tackle. You're just football reference.
Yeah.
But you're just trying to pivot, constantly pivoting and problem solving and catch and release. I mean, it's a joy. I mean, if you don't mind the hustle, it's a lot of fun. And so, just appreciate those small business owners for just being there and give them grace when they fall short and keep loving on them, because they're doing it because they love it. But they also, I mean, for us, like, we love our community. I think this is a great thing for Iowa. It's a great thing for our area. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely nonstop as a business owner. There's no turning on. Everybody says, "Oh, you're a business owner. You have full autonomy of your schedule." It's like, but that thing's going to run you.
Yeah,
to a certain extent, also.
Yes, you do get freedom, but it comes at a cost.
Yeah. Was there a point in time over the last few years when you're like, man, we might be onto something here? Was it a certain event, or when you kind of hit a certain amount of sales, or when did this go from, man, we took a plunge here, to we might have something really special and kind of long standing on our hands here?
Yeah. I think it's always felt good that the vision is good. I mean, if for anybody who's taken a business class, you think back to, okay, you do a SWOT analysis. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses, opportunities, threats? Like, our biggest threat's winter, which, trust me, like, that's nothing. We don't play around with it, but it's not like we have a lot of competition in our space. So there's a lot of good things in that way. And then there's a lot of opportunity. I mean, we're just constantly learning about all things lavender, what lavender can do, and how effective a bug spray it is. We started, I didn't know that, but then it turns out it's incredibly effective against ticks and mosquitoes. So, hey, let's develop that more, and what can we do with that? And so, how do we keep doing that? What was the original question?
Yeah, I mean, was there a point in time when this went from like, man, we're taking this big risk, to like, we might have something pretty special on our hands here?
Yeah. So, I think,
or did you know right out of the gate? Like, was it overwhelming, the kind of consumer response?
We knew that it had a lot of potential. Mm-hmm. I think July 4th weekend of 24, was great. I mean, that was the first weekend when it was like.
When's lavender full bloom? When is it?
What's your lavender starts second-ish week of June through second to last week of July. Okay. So it's that
good
peak
month
summer
and a half.
months.
Yeah. Yep.
And so it was really that July 4th weekend, and people showed up and were like, okay, for us, it's a real ebb and flow of, you got to kind of hope that the summer goes well. It's our one peak time, and then you got to, store up for winter essentially. And so that was that time when it was like, wow, people came off. I think maybe the Press Citizen or the Gazette did an article, and people just flooded. Sure. And I was like, see, newspapers aren't lost, and this could really go somewhere. And then also our lodging that first summer, I think 2 weeks in, we had, like 80% occupancy already for June and July. Yeah. And with no advertising, we did nothing. And so it was like, hey, this is a real area that people are excited about.
I think the other cool thing about lavender, maybe you thought about this going into it, but like, it's very Instagram worthy, like the perfect opportunity for a great selfie. So just that ability to have that sort of viral marketing is maybe kind of part of the genius, or maybe something you stumbled into. Totally.
Well, when I thought lavender, I'm like, we thought you pick experience. You come out, take pictures, pick a bouquet. It's really unique. And then, there's going to be a lot of organic transmission that just happens with it, which is great. I mean, even as a pilot, like sometimes I get to fly over when it's peak bloom, and you're in a sea of green of corn and beans and everywhere in Iowa. And then there's this little pocket of purple, and it's like, that's not what's going on there. Right. Like, what are you doing? Did you paint the ground purple? Right. And it's like, no, it's just, it's agriculture.
How big is the farm in total, and how big is the section that's lavender?
Yeah, so we have a 20-acre parcel that the farm really sits on. Most of that is woodlands, so thus the tree houses. And then there's about 9 acres where the lavender is. We're debating if we're going to extend off of that parcel this year yet or not.
Okay.
We planted a lot. 8,000 especially by U.S. standards, is a really big lavender farm. And then the farm itself is 200 acres. So it's about 153 acres of tillable corn and beans, and then the lavender and woods.
And you brought some of these lavender products today. Give us the full suite of lavender. You've got soaps, you've got candles, you've got honey, you've got all of it. Like what's the best seller? What's the most popular? What else is on the horizon? New things you want to test?
Yes. So best seller is probably the simple syrup. And that's, people love putting it in their coffee, their cocktails. It's very, very popular.
All right, give me your favorite. What's your favorite cocktail? Like, what's the
Yeah.
Mixologist, what's the top of the list?
We do a lavender Collins, a Tom Collins with lavender, and that I think is pretty great. I will say most people come out for the margarita, which is not what you would think.
Never met a margarita. I haven't. Put some lavender in it. I'll probably like it more. Yeah.
We have people that are like, we were going to go to dinner, but we're coming out to grab some margaritas first, then we'll go to dinner. And so, didn't expect that. But the lavender margarita is apparently where it's at. But yes, we were excited to add that, and we have some ideas. I was just actually talking to the guy who's maybe going to do bees this summer for us, and it's like, we should do a mojito. And I'm like, it
does sound amazing.
Yeah, let's try it. Yeah.
A little mint.
It sounds
there you go.
summer.
Now you got to grow mint too, and you got to do it.
Lavender is part of the mint family, so it works out. Then this year, by far and above, the most popular has been magnesium rub as far as new products. It's insane. Honestly, we shipped 3 orders this week, and all of them were magnesium. I think I got another order today, and it's magnesium to Colorado.
What is that? Is it a healing property to that? Or
so magnesium, most of us are magnesium deficient, and so a lot of people will take magnesium as a supplement. Just prescribe, their doctor's like, hey, you should probably take a magnesium supplement. But then a lot of people have just found it. They'll put it on their feet before they go to bed. They'll put it on sore muscles and just replenish. And so that has just been off the shelves, truly. It's been pretty crazy. During the summer, the bug spray is super popular. And, people are like, hey, does that really work? Yeah, it legitimately
beats Absorbing Junior and all that
works.
In terms of smell.
Yeah, so I found they did a study.
It does work though, like you keep the bugs off you.
Yeah. National Institutes of Health has a study out. Lavender oil is 89% as effective as DEET in repelling ticks and mosquitoes. So you lose 11% effectivity, but it doesn't smell like you're spraying maybe like cancer all over yourself.
Yeah.
Parents love it because they, can spray it on their kids' faces and it doesn't make you feel bad. Also, just out of practice being out on the farm, it works great against sweat bees, horse flies. And so the only thing it doesn't work is those black bugs that come in the fall and that just bite you. It doesn't work against that, unfortunately. But everything else, so that's great. Tallow, everybody's on the tallow kick right now, so we have a tallow. Lotions are always just a fan favorite. We do our own honey, and
the honey sounds amazing.
So I tell people I don't put it in anything. Maybe like you could put on a biscuit, but I just eat it straight up because it's just really, when
you can taste the lavender in there. Do you infuse it with lavender, or is it just the bees bring the flavor from the
bees
flower?
Bring the flavor, yeah. And some people maybe that with a refined palate can get the lavender hints off of it, but it just tastes really good as like a mono-sourced honey. The lavender infused is really good into it. We don't do that yet. We've talked about it because you lose all the values of it being raw. Like a lot of people with allergies want local honey. So we don't want to lose that. Once you boil it and infuse it, you lose it. So
you've had to learn how to navigate. I'm assuming like all the FDA, USDA, like all the food.
And everything you got to label it just so, and and there's great resource. But again, I don't know how you'd ever know this, and then we find out, hey, Iowa State has a lot of great resources and people that'll help you when you're developing your food product line, how to do that, how to keep it safe. There's some great resources that the state just helps you with. So grateful for that. And then we have some great partnerships. We love working with people who love what they do. So I brought some chocolates for you.
Yeah.
And so I think I have a dark chocolate and then a white chocolate. I can't tell you which one's which now that we're looking at it. But this is a chocolate studio in North Liberty, and Anne does. So she takes our lavender, paints their painted chocolates for those people that are looking.
That's really good.
Or listening only.
Yeah.
And so if you stay on the treehouses, we have a couple chocolates in there. You can buy them in boxes, so lavender, dark chocolate, white chocolate. We have a lemon, so an assortment of that, and that's been great. We have a couple other partnerships with local vendors who take our lavender and put them in dishes and put acrylic in them, and so it's been great to work with some people doing some awesome things too.
So you, not unlike most small business owners, like you're doing like 20 different things. Like you got to be an accountant, you got to be a farmer, you got to be
my accountant is literally calling me right now.
It's
He's like,
up
"Are
on
your
tax
books
season."
ready?
Yeah.
Are your books ready?" I'm like,
now you're an innkeeper. You got to be a mechanic. You got to do all those sort of things.
Yep.
The lodging piece, I think, is super exciting. You can see the renderings of the tree houses on there.
Yeah.
And I know that's been kind of a big resurgence, perhaps even more so post-COVID, in terms of people wanting to get outside, kind of these analog experiences. You're not inundated with a bazillion TVs, and you get out into the quiet and that sort of thing. And you mentioned that was kind of part of the original business plan, but the demand has grown, and hence the need to expand the number of tree houses.
Yeah. I mean, purely from like an economical perspective, the pure economics, like the agriculture is the long-term play. The agriculture, you're not going to plant a bunch of flowers year one and expect to make a profit. It's just not going to play out. There's too much upfront investment cost, et cetera. So what could we do in the short term to not only diversify a farm that it can, if you have a bad year, we're doing this. There's not a lot of us in Iowa, Midwest that do this because there's risk. And so we're starting a arguably very new crop. Mm-hmm. And so how can we, diversify the business so we don't have a bunch of risk all our eggs in one basket? And so the lodging, I think, really helped that, as well as farm engagement, as well as people coming down. I mean, almost everybody that stays, they want to come down to the shop. They want to talk. They want to get involved. I have somebody coming this summer, and she's like, "My mom's coming with me. Could you please, could she come just help on the farm for the day?" Because she just gets stir crazy.
We love free labor. Bring it.
Yeah. And I'm like, sure, I don't know how helpful they're going to be. I don't know. But yeah, if you want to take along for the day. And so it's just, I think people have had a ton of fun with that experience of, I want to get out, I want to relax, but I also can engage in the agricultural side of it as well at the same time. So lodging's been very popular.
And you mentioned you're a full-time pilot.
Mm-hmm.
I've had the privilege of you flying me around the state of Iowa a time or two. How do you juggle from a time management perspective? Because there's a fair amount of people that have a day job in air quotes, and then they've got a side hustle. Again in air quotes. This is certainly much more than a side hustle. But talk a bit about how you organize your life and your day and your week, and how you keep track of it, or any sort of hacks. Are you running on a certain scheduling app, or do you just, wherever the wind blows you, that's where you're going?
Yeah, that's a really great question. I have not. It really is a little bit of the wind blowing, because the times that I've tried to really structure it and say, because I've read a ton of business books, ton of time management books, and anytime you're starting a new business, anytime you have a side hustle, sometimes you can't prescribe it enough. It's just things are going to happen that you never expected, and you can try to fight it as much as you want, or you can be like, hey, I'm just going to roll with the punches and trust the process. And honestly, a lot of times it works out. Now, does that mean it's perfect? No. Sometimes some plates get dropped that are up and spinning sometimes. And then just, man, having good people and being patient for good people, that if you get the right people in the right seat on the bus, I mean, most people, if you've been part of a business class or organization, we always want to have the right people on the right bus. There is so much truth to that. I just don't think we're patient enough to wait for it. And so,
how big is your team out there on the farm?
Seasonal is so hard.
Right.
I mean, we talk about it too.
Hey, we gotta make some money here. It's the wintertime.
Oh man, it's so hard when you're in the off season. How do you staff up for the main season? And kudos to all of our other partners in this, like Wilson's Orchard or Colony Pumpkin or Walker Homestead. Like it's an ebb and a flow, and so we're trying to sit around 2 or 3 like full time, but in the summer we'll have 20.
Wow.
It just depends. But yeah, you got to hire someone who loves lavender and is willing to work in a field in the summer in the hot and the heat and care for plants. You got to find people who are willing to run a front counter, willing to run a cafe, willing to help ship products and make products. And so just trying to find the right people for the right seat on the bus is really hard. You love teachers. Teachers who have the summer off, who are looking for something fun. They
work with their hands. And,
Yep.
I think that's kind of one of the unsung things about business is that not only creating businesses that have a mission and a vision and are, quote unquote, cool places to kind of come visit. Like you attract customers and dollars, but you also attract employees. It becomes a place that gets sought out as a place to come work.
Yeah. Yeah. But I'm up front with, we could have a whole conversation about hiring. I'm sure you'd have some thoughts too. But how, I think it was actually the CEO of Airbnb, and he was talking about just being honest with people, telling them the worst parts of the job. And if they're still excited at the end of the day, then that's probably going to work. Yeah. And I'm like, you know what? You're right. I'm not, there's no sugarcoating. Like, here's the vision. It's really cool. Like, we're going to have so much ability to do corporate retreats now and personal retreats and building even opportunities around that, like weekend stays paired with whatever and private chefs. And, there's just so much potential. But now I got to find someone who's equally entrepreneurial to come out and say, I can develop that side of the business.
Right.
Because
take it and run with it like it's their own.
Yeah. And so... yeah, that's what we're hunting for all the time. But then also somebody who's like, I can come for a summer and have a great summer and enjoy it too. And so that's an interesting tension that not a lot of businesses get to have.
Yeah. So run through, I know there's dozens of different events that happen out on the farm. Like give me your top 3 favorite or top 3 that are the most popular when the season gets rolling.
So season gets rolling. We're bringing back Friday nights on the farm. We do wood fire pizzas with Maggie's pizzas. Awesome. Maggie's is an Oxford farm, just like we are. So again, great working with other local businesses. And
pizza and a lavender margarita. That sounds
pizza, lavender margarita, live
like
music.
Yeah.
Love bringing out the live music. Sorry to all the musicians who have emailed me who are like, "Can we come out to the farm this year?" Because I think we're close to a dozen now, and I'm like, I'm gonna work on it. Trust me.
Sure.
That's great. Our lavender wreath making class is super popular. I mean, pretty much always have people signing up, if not sold out. And we kind of can do that year round. And it's a great private event. So we have friend groups that come out and do that. So
you can dry the lavender and hold it. And you guys have a surplus of that through the off season?
Okay. Yeah. So we have 5 drying racks that are in the building, and they're just full of lavender, and we'll pull off of that. We'll recycle. We'll use that all up before the end of the year. We'll debud it or distill it or put it into products, and then we'll restock those drying racks. And so, yep. And then
how long does a lavender? I'm going to ask some dumb questions. There's city slicker questions here.
Yeah,
like how long does lavender stay? What's a shelf life once you dry it or cure it?
Yeah, well, it's an herb, so it's like a lot of dried herbs that you put in your spice closet.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I always tell people it's good until you come back next time. Okay, because that's what I want. I want you to come back again. But yeah, I mean, literally today, up in one of my offices, I have some dried lavender, and I was just like, and this was from our first year before we were even open to the public.
The vintage, 2023.
Vintage. Yeah,
it's like a wine.
There are so many similarities with wine growing and lavender. I pulled some buds off and just crushed it this afternoon, and oh my gosh, it was overwhelming, the smell.
Really?
So yeah, it's pretty impressive, but that's great for us because we're not on a tight timeline. Like if you were a vegetable farmer or something, we can slow roll it a little bit, which is great.
What's the nuts and bolts of lavender? Like to sell by the ounce? Like, is it like, how do you, from a business pricing perspective with the actual commodity of lavender, like how is that?
It's so complicated. We do a ton of direct to consumer because most lavender in the States is imported. Probably 97% of it's imported.
Where around the world are the big lavender hotbeds?
The big, our more direct competitor, would be Bulgaria.
Oh, wow.
Bulgarian oil and buds are, cost of labor for them is, nothing. It's tough for us to compete. French lavender, we can definitely compete with French lavender, but that's again going to be your other one, which is probably not surprising for most people. But I will say, people have said that our lavender and our lavender ice cream is better than Provence, France. Wow. So that's kudos.
So your lavender aficionados, like how does an Iowa lavender, what's the taste profile? How is it different compared to Bulgarian?
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
We're getting in the
weeds.
weeds
This is wild,
here.
man. What
are the tasting notes of Iowa lavender?
Yeah. So this is what we do. When people come out and do a tour, we're going to smell two different lavender.
Okay.
We'll do we have two different species. There's 5 different species in total. We can only grow 2 in Iowa. So we'll smell those. But even between varieties, you can tell a difference. And people, their eyes open. It's like a light bulb moment of, I just thought lavender was lavender. Yeah. And it's like, no. There's a reason we grow 8 varieties, is not only to diversify, to make sure no matter what weather happens, we're going to have something, but also because some make bug sprays, some make syrup. And the problem is if you mix the two, you're not going to enjoy the syrup. The bug spray will probably still work.
Yeah, give me make sure the one in my syrup is not the bug
spray one.
Lavender.
Yeah. It's just.
The one's a little harsher maybe.
Yep. And one's sweeter. And so that's an easy one. But again, just like wine, you can have, 20 different smells out there. And so you're mixing, sometimes they'll mix it together. I don't know why French is that much better marketing, probably because it's French. Anything French.
Yeah. Iowa's got some street cred. We know how to grow the right things. So
we know.
Midwestern
we're learning.
Iowa. Yeah, there's a good brand to tack onto that.
Yeah, I've had some conversations with some lavender farmers, and I said we'd be really interested in going commercial and having conversations with doTERRA and some of the big essential oils. If we could combine, do kind of like a co-op deal, I think we'd have some potential, but it's just really difficult to compete with the imported stuff. Not to get into international politics too much, but right. So we sell by the ounce if it's essential oil, or if it's by the buds, it's by the pound, and and then value products, are what they are.
So did the first plants take right away when you planted them the first season, or was there some trial and error there? And did you hire in, did you bring in a consultant or something, or was it just kind of like YouTube, this is where we plant the seed, this is how much we water it?
I don't even know who to consult. Right. There's some folks out there, but a lot of them are still new too. And then there's some people that have been around for a long time, but they have a much smaller farm, and so doing it on the scale that we're doing it, it's a whole different thing. Our first year, most of them actually took really well. We have figured out, that's the one thing I do know how to do really well, is plant lavender, when to plant it, how to plant it. We made some mistakes, but for the most part, we executed really well. We have great soil for it, so for us, it takes off. Our first winter, we definitely had some struggles. We had heavy snows that split plants right down, that just split them right open because the weight of them just pulled them apart and broke them. We fixed how we do that, and so that's not so much a problem now. But we had one greenhouse. Like I tell sometimes on tours to people is, you may go to a greenhouse and buy a plant, and you're sitting there and you're like, you get it home, and 2 weeks later, 1 month later, it's dead, and you feel bad, like you messed it up, and I don't have a green. Everybody says that. I can't keep a houseplant alive. Well, now that might be true, but there's also just some bad greenhouse plants, not necessarily your greenhouse, but where they got the plants, they just had bad practices. Right. And so we had the same variety. One grower was in Pennsylvania, one grower was here in Iowa, because I wanted to support Iowa. And then the Iowa stuff tanked, and we had to replant half of it.
Interesting.
Where the same exact variety from a different grower in Pennsylvania, we lost 30 plants compared to 275. Okay. So
a little trial and error, and
yeah. So where you get your plants matters. It's something.
Yeah.
I can't.
But now you got the little trial and error over a few years, you feel like you're in a good spot now with.
We're getting there. But even last year, I bought a variety and I was really excited for it. It's what was on the bill of sale. I checked all the receipts. We got it. It was supposed to be white lavender because there's 3 colors of lavender: pink, white, and purple. And we planted in our labyrinth because we wanted it to be a white and purple labyrinth. And it put up a few blooms this fall. And it was a light purple. It wasn't even the right variety. They sent us the wrong variety, but there's no way to know until it blooms.
Yeah.
So I don't know how some of this I do better. Now, the labyrinth is still going to be really cool. It's going to be some light purple against some really dark purple. But, until we can develop our own propagation program, which we might if we get the right people to do it, there's some pain.
Are we just scratching the surface in terms of like the agritourism in Iowa, or specifically in the corridor? You think about what you guys have done, and you start to layer on like Lucky Star and Wilson's and all the other, there seems like there's a great kind of network or collective of you all doing these interesting things. And it is such an important part of quality of life. Not only if you live here to be able to jump out from Iowa City and go out to the farm and visit that and see that, but then also people that are traveling through the state or they're coming from out of state into here, because people obviously know of Iowa and they think of it as farmland, maybe able to have unique products like this, unique crops, a unique experience. How do you guys communicate with each other? You just sort of like strengthen numbers as you get more momentum and critical mass here, and building something that's even bigger than just what you guys have at your own farm.
Yeah. I think we do well in seasons, but it's hard too because not all of our seasons align. Right. So like when we're slow, somebody else is busy. But I think Christy over at Walker Homestead said it really well, is, you go to Napa, and I actually got to go to Napa this year, and Napa Valley, like they could all look at each other as competition, but they don't.
Right.
They are all together on the same boat, and they see it. If one of us succeeds, it helps all of us.
Absolutely.
And I think that's the same mentality here. Is you come to Iowa City or the Iowa corridor area, there's all these opportunities to have farm experiences and to build stronger Iowa farms because we're doing that. I think that's just an overall huge win. And I think that's the reality of row crop farming is when we went to our Farm Bureau conference, and it's all young farmers. And I thought we would be kind of the odd ones out because we don't do pork and beef and
corn or beans.
We rent out our corn and beans. But people were super interested because these young farmers, they're like, this is not the future of our farm. So how do we think about this differently? What all other crops can we grow? And we've had conversations even with people coming out of like the poor farm here, and they're looking for land access, and they're growing some crazy stuff that I'd never even thought of before.
They just want a little plot of land that they can do.
And
a crazy gourd or something.
That works super well for certain communities of people around the area. But it's really hard to find an acre or two of land to grow. Yeah. And so the only way economically to even make it work or to do new farmers, to be a new farmer, is to think outside the box. It's not going to be row crop. Right. And so I think this is the future, and I don't think that's a bad thing. I think it'd be a great thing for the people who want to engage in it and go visit it and stuff. And I hope it'll be a good thing for the small farmer in the future as farming is changing.
You get to my next question. If you could clone yourself and have another Taylor and another, day on top of a day and just be able to go do this again, like what is another idea, kind of an farming idea that you could go launch right now that you feel like
me out,
that you've seen somewhere else, or there's unmet demand to meet that, or is a certain product or certain experience on the farm? If you could play make believe, kind of Sim City a little bit.
Yeah, we've had. Oh man, I don't know if I have an easy answer to that, because some of the ideas we've had, I want to keep close to the chest. Because we're testing it out to see if it can go. I haven't seen. I think there's one. I don't know how we would do it, but I think there's some folks doing a ton of stuff with prairie seeds and prairie flowers that are in Iowa that are really interesting, and I think people would love to go and experience and engage with. I think it's great for some of us like us who have really poor soil for traditional farming. Like our farm is not conducive to corn and soybeans. Right. It's great for lavender. So working with what you got versus trying to force something that doesn't fit very well. Maybe prairie. I don't know. I've wanted to do watermelons, but I don't know.
You sandy, you could get that. Muscatine does a good job of that.
They do, don't they?
They got the Muscatine melons are pretty famous for that. You see those Stout Farm stands that kind of pop up.
Stout Farm does great.
Yeah, cantaloupe watermelons.
That's a good business model right there. But again, it's direct to consumer.
Right.
Like I think that's
what Kroll's done with the pumpkin trade. I think it's really interesting. I was looking on Instagram. I actually sent it to Matt and Nicole. It's like it was down in Dallas or some gals built this crazy business out of staging front porches with pumpkins and gourds. Like people in like the rich suburbs of Dallas will pay like $5,000 to come in and they're tricked out front porch or something with the pumpkins.
There you go. For the Christmas
all these ancillary, it's interesting. All these ancillary businesses.
Yes. Yeah. And I mean, huge kudos like to Kroll of, because they sign those big contracts with Hy-Vee to provide pumpkins and then you have to deliver. Right. And I'm like, gosh, I hope we could get there on the lavender front because I know that there's some people who have some big contracts out there. But again, you got to make sure you can deliver and make sure Iowa can deliver. So
often in business, we start businesses and there's either some sort of long-term goal where we're going to create this business, we're going to grow it, we're going to create efficiency, and then we're going to sell it in 10 years. Or I want to create X amount of profit, and that's my goal, and I want to grow my profit 10, 15% a year. Just strictly in a business sense, what is your kind of tangible goals with the business? Like, where do you want this to be 5 years from now? And are you, when you sat down and laid this out, are you hitting your benchmarks that you set out to hit when you guys started the business?
This is going to sound cliche, but I genuinely mean it. I think for Stephanie and I, our slogan is escape the everyday. Mm-hmm. And that really is at the end of the day, the goal. Like when we're thinking about new tree houses, we're making sure that the bottom line works, but we're also thinking if I'm going to spend a weekend away, if I'm going to take my family and we're going to meet up somewhere for a family get together or something, if I'm going to take my team on a retreat, where would I want to go? What would help me to just walk away from the chaos and into something that's unique and special and thoughtful and cared for and that they care about me? I genuinely like that's the win. And again, there's a lot of books out there that you can read that say this, but I think it practically is very true, is the bottom line will then follow.
Right.
And so I think if we can get to that place.
Have good business fundamentals, but very much mission-driven.
Very much mission-driven. Yeah, like there is a lot of ways we could cut corners on these new tree houses, for example, but we're not.
The tree houses look sweet, by the way.
Even though I wish.
Talk a bit about the tree houses, because I mean, go through the design process. Did you guys start a Pinterest board? I mean, you look at them, they're these really severe kind of pitch to the roof, A-frame.
Yep.
I mean, I'm looking forward to getting inside of one. It looks really unlike anything not only you'd see in Iowa, but kind of anywhere, like super unique.
I mean,
did you design it? Did you work with the architect, builder? What was the process there?
We're not so crazy as to do it from nothing. Mm-hmm. So we found some examples out there, and there's a lot out there now, not only with the internet, but I think the power of AI and what it allows you to play with. Not that there was much AI, honestly, when we started this process.
Design me a full specs for a 2,000 square foot.
Yeah, but then the problem is you're going to have like a cupboard sticking out of a wall or something random because AI is great at that. But so we just found some reference points that were available and then also looked at their booking. Like, are they popular? Are people liking them? And then took a bunch of ideas, tried to put it together in a beautiful Frankenstein thing. And for both of those, that's what we ended up with. And so, the A-frame is we're toying around with either calling it the Apex or the Summit treehouse. Okay. Not any opinions. Any
I like
thoughts?
Summit. I go.
You like Summit? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm pulling people, and so far Summit's winning.
Good.
And it's gorgeous with the entire front wall. 85% of it is all triangle glass, just giant pieces of glass, and so it's super natural light, all that kind of stuff. And then you got 3 bedrooms. The third loft is going to be amazing with skylight windows, a giant triangle window that's taller than me, and I'm 6'4", and looking out.
You could
into
bring
the
your whole
woods.
family there if you got.
You can bring your whole
4 or
family.
5 or,
Yep. Full kitchen.
That's
and just really unique bathrooms, 3 decks. And you're out there. You're actually overlooking one of the creeks on the property too, and you're overlooking the Lavender Labyrinth, which is really neat. And then the other one is in the shape of a hexagon, and that one, same thing, 3 bedrooms. Going to have also Murphy bed bunk beds. I didn't know they made Murphy beds that are bunk beds, but they do. And again, just a lot of gorgeous things. Again, where you go and it's like, gosh, I'm super glad. You just feel special because it felt like someone really cared about you when they designed it and created it. And it has a giant deck. The wall, like I got up there and I'm like, it's all framed up now. They don't have the windows in, and you're just looking out into the Hawkeye Wildlife Refuge, and it's really incredible. So we're calling that the Outlook. And it has a hot sauna in it, a legit. It's not a box that we just shoved in there. It's like the room is designed as a hot sauna with windows looking out into the woods.
So we got a little health wellness component to it.
Yeah.
Okay, you got me sold.
Yeah.
And you can book these online now. You can go in and you're booking.
You're booking February 14th for the new ones.
Okay.
So Valentine's Day,
they'll be live and ready to go this summer.
Spring? Yep. We're gonna make the Summit A-frame treehouse available in May, and probably the hexagon in June. And then when we get more exact construction dates, the joys of construction.
Don't ever pin down an exact.
Don't ever pin down. We have some buffer built in.
Yeah, good.
There's a good chance that they'll be done sooner, but buffer. So it's they're pretty stunning, and it's crazy because we're already thinking about what the next ones are going to be, and that's even wilder. So
last question as we wrap up, and we talk a lot about this in our businesses, specifically the hospitality restaurant world.
Yes. How's that going?
It's going great. It's great. I think Iowa City's similar. Like we have a great mix of very loyal locals who love supporting local businesses, but then also such a great market for people, tourists, right? That are coming in, whether it's university adjacent travel or whatever else that might be. So we feel blessed in that sense. But we talk a lot about obviously creating good products and those sort of things. But we also talk a lot about this is an experience business, and how do we want people being very purposeful about how we want people to feel when they step into one of our restaurants or one of our businesses. How do you want people to feel when they come visit Calyx Creek Farm?
Yeah.
Or when they stay overnight in the Summit.
Yeah,
the Summit sounds good.
Yeah,
the Summit Treehouse.
Okay,
because I think that is what's very admirable at what you guys have done. You've created something very distinct, and if you think about it, just in the sense of like flying over in a plane, and you got green, corn, all of a sudden this splash of lavender.
Yeah,
and now you've got these super unique lodges that are very distinct. I think that's a big takeaway. But what is that distinct feeling that you want people to have when they come visit you guys?
Yeah. I'll answer the second question, but I'll first just say, I also want, we grew up in Iowa, we're Iowans, and I think Iowa just has a lot more to offer than people think, and I'm sitting across from people in commercial airplanes, where you're from, Iowa, and it's like, what's going on there? And I'm like, actually some pretty cool stuff. Yeah. There's enough
We're pretty
of us.
bad about celebrating and telling our story too.
Yeah. I don't want everybody to move here or anything, but you can come visit, but there's a lot of good-hearted, scrappy people out there trying to do some unique things, whether it be through some great restaurants that a lot of us really enjoy, to crazy architecture in the middle of the woods on a lavender farm, right? So I just, I would love, not for us per se, because I really don't need the notoriety at all. Stephanie and I don't need that, but for Iowa, for people to know, put that A-frame on a pamphlet for the state of Iowa, just because cool. This is our home state, and let's feel good about it. But I think the best way I would describe what we want people to feel is that their eyes, when people's eyes open up and they're just like, whoa, they do that with our drinks, alcoholic, non-alcoholic, doesn't matter. They do it with the products. They do it with getting out of their car, and every year we have at least a handful of people that get out and are yelling, and they're like, this is on my vision board. This is on my bucket list. Right. Yeah. I finally made it, or something, or, pulling up to your treehouse and you're like, this was way better than I expected. I love the 5-star reviews, not because of that it looks good to everybody else, but because somebody was extraordinarily impacted by it, or, you know, veterans coming and staying, and we get to treat them in wonderful ways, not because, again, we want the notoriety, but because people get to walk away and say, I love the fact that that's here. I love the fact that it's in our state, and it's just a good thing for all of us. That's
sort of sense of escapism and
sort
of oasis, right?
It really is an escape from the everyday. I liken it back to the Garden of Eden. It's like that kind of perfect before things went south.
Yep.
We know that that's there, and we can go there, and it's a little slice of heaven. Where is it at? It's in Iowa.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, again, we're in the middle of winter, so I'm already dreaming of the Friday night pizza nights and a cold lavender margarita in one hand. So we'll be out to visit this summer, and again, just huge kudos to you and your wife for what you guys have built, and the impact it's having on the quality of life here in the state. And I think you said it right. Like that's the perfect cover of the brochure for Come Visit Iowa is that, right? Like this sort of new entrepreneurial spirit and leaning into the new things we can create from the land and with a little bit of creativity. So congratulations on everything, and look forward to seeing that purple and the lavender popping out of the ground here this summer.
Appreciate it.
Yep. I'd also like to thank this podcast sponsor, Midwest One Bank. Experience simply better banking at midwestone.bank. And this podcast is produced by Upload Media Group, located here in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. For more information on them, you can visit uploadmediagroup.com. And of course, if you enjoy this show, please consider subscribing and reviewing on your podcast platform of choice. It helps us to continue to develop and grow. Real Success with Nate Kaeding is a Corridor Media Group podcast. For more information, visit corridorbusiness.com.